Welcome to Bedtime Wisdom Stories.
Story time. The Soft Bell at Pine House. At Pine House, everyone waited for the little bell that meant the cinnamon buns were cool enough. Mara loved cinnamon buns more than any bedtime treat in the world. The tray rested on the high counter, filling the room with sweet steam. Mara almost rang the bell herself to hurry the waiting. But Auntie reminded her that hot sugar can burn impatient tongues. Mara watched the steam rise like ghost ribbons into the lamp glow. Instead of complaining, she folded napkins and set out the plates. Then she read one short page in the corner chair while the buns cooled. At last Auntie touched the tray and rang the soft brass bell. The cinnamon buns were warm, safe, and perfect to eat. Mara noticed that waiting had made the whole house calmer. Auntie thanked her for patient hands and a patient mouth. The bell's gentle sound seemed sweeter because it had been earned. Mara licked cinnamon from her lip and smiled into the lamplight. She slept knowing patience can feel warm and kind. Moral of the story: patience is love that waits calmly for the right moment. Story time. Mira and the Midnight Mango. Mira found one ripe mango in the kitchen basket after brushing her teeth. Its sweet smell filled the quiet room under the moonlight. She remembered Mama saving it for breakfast slices the next morning. Mira almost peeled it right there, beside the sink. Then she imagined the empty basket that everyone would find at sunrise. She washed the mango carefully and placed it in a blue bowl on the high shelf. To make waiting easier, she cut an apple instead and shared it with Papa. Papa noticed the untouched mango and smiled with surprise. He helped Mira write a little note that said, "For breakfast together." In the morning they sliced the mango into bright sunrise cubes. Mama smiled at the note before anyone even tasted the fruit. The mango seemed sweeter because it had been shared at the right time. Mira learned that self-control can taste like tomorrow's joy. She tucked the note into her recipe notebook. That night sleep felt light and clean as the empty blue bowl. Moral of the story: self-control often saves sweetness for the right time. Story time. The Pebble Under the Pillow. Arun tucked a smooth river pebble under his pillow after visiting the stream. The pebble was meant for the classroom nature table the next day. Before bed, he accidentally chipped one edge by bouncing it on the floorboards. Arun almost hid the chip by turning the pebble over. But the hard lump under his pillow made him think of the lie he might carry. He took the pebble to Mom and showed her the nicked edge. Mom said the truth often feels lighter once it has been spoken. Together they washed the pebble and wrote a new label, "River Pebble," with a story. The chipped edge gleamed silver in the lamplight. At school the teacher said the unusual pebble was even more interesting now. Arun told the class how the chip had happened. No one laughed. One friend even showed a leaf he had torn by mistake. Arun felt his shoulders loosen as the day went on. That night the pillow felt soft again with no secret underneath it. He slept deeply, glad that truth had cleared the bed in his mind. Moral of the story: truth helps the mind rest more softly than hiding does. Story time. Finn's rainy slippers. Finn stepped into dry slippers after the evening rain had slowed. From the porch he saw Mrs. Dove lifting heavy grocery bags with a wobbling umbrella. Water pooled on the steps while one bag began to tear at the corner. Finn almost slipped back inside before his cocoa could get cold. Then he noticed apples peeking through the rip in the paper bag. He grabbed his rain cape and hurried back out into the porch light. Finn held the umbrella steady while Mrs. Dove climbed the wet steps. He carried the bread and apples safely to her kitchen table. Then he wiped the porch puddle with the old doormat so the steps were safer. Mrs. Dove thanked him and handed him a warm plum from the fruit bowl. When Finn returned home, his cocoa was still warm on the counter. Dad said the best help often arrives before anyone asks for it. Finn felt taller than his little rain cape. Outside, the porch steps shone safe and clean under the light. He fell asleep proud of the quiet errand he had done. Moral of the story: helping before you are asked is a quiet form of love. Story time. The Wishing Quilt Patch. The family gathered to sew a wishing quilt before bedtime. Each person chose one patch to stitch with a wish for the new season. Little Nia received a plain square, while the others chose floral and starry fabric. Nia almost sulked, thinking her patch did not matter much at all. Then Grandma showed her that the plain square belonged in the very center. Nia chose yellow thread and stitched a small sun on the middle. Her brother added stars around the edges of the sun. Her father sewed a neat border, so the square would stay strong. When the quilt was spread out, Nia's patch shone from the center. Everyone pointed to the bright sun first. Grandma said a family needs every piece, not just the fancy ones. Nia rubbed the stitched sun and felt important in a warm, steady way. The quilt covered all their knees during the final bedtime story. Nia learned that simple places can still hold the middle. She fell asleep under the quilt that held all their wishes together. Moral of the story: every family member matters, even when their piece looks simple. Story time. The last page of Good Night Glen. Old Mr. Foxley announced that the bedtime library cart would retire tomorrow night. Every evening the little cart rolled through Goodnight Glen with one last borrowed book. Ava loved hearing its wheels click gently over the stone path. She almost stayed sad all evening, and ignored the final round altogether. Then she decided the last round should be remembered instead of missed. Ava helped Mr. Foxley polish the brass bell on the front of the cart. She stacked the return books neatly, and tied them with soft twine. The cart made one slow golden trip down the glen path. Neighbors stepped out to wave and borrow one final bedtime story. Mr. Foxley gave Ava the last lending card as a keepsake. He told her that good endings honor all the nights that came before. Ava listened to the final bell, without crying this time. She tucked the lending card inside her favorite book at home. From bed she could still imagine the cart's gentle wheels in the distance. She slept grateful for every story the little cart had brought. Moral of the story: gentle endings are easier when we cherish the good they gave us. Story time. The Moon Pillow and the Unsaid Sorry. Mira sat on the bed hugging her moon pillow while the whale curtains moved softly in the night air. She had laughed at Owen's drawing earlier, and now the memory kept returning whenever the room became quiet. Mama noticed Mira pressing her chin into the pillow and sat on the rug beside the bed. Mira whispered that she wished the afternoon could rewind to the art table. Mama placed a small apology note on the blanket and said tomorrow could begin with one brave sentence. Mira held the pencil, but the first word felt larger than the whole page. She wrote Owen's name slowly, then drew the corner of his picture with a tiny heart beside it. Mama did not correct the crooked letters. She only kept the lamp steady. Mira folded the note once and placed it under the moon pillow, where she would find it in the morning. The room seemed softer after the sorry had somewhere to go. Mira looked at the whale curtains and imagined them swimming through a quieter sea. Mama tucked the blue blanket under Myra's paws and kissed the top of her head. The hard thought was still there, but it no longer pushed against her chest. Myra's eyes closed while the apology note waited safely under the pillow. Sleep came gently because tomorrow already had a kinder beginning. Moral of the story: a gentle apology can make the heart quiet enough to sleep. Story time. The wooden star on the new bed. Owen stood beside the guest bed, holding his wooden star token against his chest. The room belonged to Grandma's house, but the chair, the quilt, and the window all looked too new. Grandma set his travel bag on the floor and asked which part of the room felt least friendly. Owen pointed to the tall window because it reflected dark shapes from the garden. Grandma opened the night lamp and let a small golden circle appear on the wall. Owen placed the wooden star token on the windowsill, right where the lamp could reach it. The star made a tiny shadow shaped like a kite instead of a monster. Grandma told him that new rooms become kinder when one familiar thing is allowed to belong there. Owen moved his travel bag beside the bed and chose a place for his slippers. He touched the striped quilt and noticed it was warmer than it looked. Grandma sat in the chair and hummed the same tune she used at home. The tall window still showed the garden, but now the wooden star stood between Owen and the dark glass. Owen climbed into bed and waved once at the little kite-shaped shadow. His breathing slowed as the guest room became part of his own bedtime story. Owen learned that home can begin with one familiar light. Moral of the story: a familiar kindness can make a new place feel safe.